guys, welcome back to another planty video. My name is Shannon and this is Planted 386. Thank you so much for stopping by, for clicking. I appreciate you being here. Today's video is going to be my July favorites and I'm excited to share them with you. There is about 10, I believe, on the list, but who knows, as we're going along, if something catches my eye and I feel like I must show you, then who knows, maybe it'll wind up in here. What is your favorite plant this month? I would love to know in the comments below. Tell me which plant is the most exciting to you. Anyways, without further ado, we're gonna dive right into it. Okay, so the first one I want to share with you guys is, well, the first two actually, they are Rhipsalis. And if you're new here, I love Rhipsalis. If you're not new here, then you already know. But this is my red Rhipsalis. So this guy, like, while he doesn't look like much, this thing has grown so much for me over the last like couple months. I will say he tends to be a bit of a slower grower in terms of like Rhipsalis. I mean, my other ones seem to grow like weeds, so I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I just think there's something so fun and unique about this plant. He does have like little hairs on some of his petals, but I love the way that it sun stresses. And he just pretty much sits in the windowsill doing his thing. I've had him for quite a while now, so he should, in my opinion, be much larger than this, but I just find that he catches my eye. He has just been catching my eye, his little pink tips. I just feel like he's showing off. So there's been numerous occasions over the month that I have just looked over and really just taken a moment to appreciate this plant. So yeah, I wanted to share him with you guys. Another one that sits in the same sill, they sit on opposite ends of each other, is my Mistletoe Rhipsalis. And this guy just, well, he grows like a weed. And I mean, you can kind of see the new growth. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to pick it up, but like all of the new growth comes out this like fun chartreuse sort of green, and then it sort of fades down. But that just indicates to me how much this plant is growing at the time, or how much it has grown. And what's really happened is he's kind of thickened up quite a bit. So he was much smaller, much skinnier, maybe only, gosh, when I got him, he was, I think I paid $8 maybe, and it was just like a few sprigs. It was so tiny. I thought, oh my gosh, this is never going to amount to anything. So I ended up going back at a later time and I bought like another little sprig of it, and I ended up putting it all together in this pot, which has then turned into this really beautiful planter. And there's something about it, just it sits on this candlestick in the sill, and it just looks so graceful and delicate and beautiful. And it's also a plant that literally requires really nothing from me. I can always tell when it's thirsty because his little stems will kind of start to shrivel up. You can just tell when he wants a drink. I also find that Rhipsalis tend to be much thirstier than I think people give them credit for. And so there's never been a time where I have overwatered this plant. It seems like it could always use a drink, especially because I have it in terracotta and in full sun, pretty much full windowsill sun, if you will. So yeah, anyways, I just think he's amazing and I thought I'd share him with you. If you are looking for something super low maintenance to add to a corner, or I've even thought about moving him to our spare bathroom because I just think he would look so beautiful in there on one of the shelves. But because I love looking at him so much in the living room, I'm like, no, I would miss him. So that just kind of makes me think maybe at some point I will propagate and start again. But for some reason, I just have zero desire to propagate or take cuttings or any of that. It's just like with this guy, I just want to see how big it can get. Is that weird? Do you guys do that? Okay, next up is one that I don't really talk about often. And if I'm being honest, I don't really enjoy enough. And I think that's why this month I've really been trying to like focus on this plant, move him around and find a home for him where I can enjoy him even more. But this is my Euphorbia Ghost. So this guy, he's been nothing but good to me. He's so cool. Like he's so freaking cool. And I have him growing in the windowsill over here in the planty corner, which is really ideal. He really loves the spot. It's a big reason why I haven't moved him sooner, but watering these plants over the last month, I've seen how much he's grown, and I'm just like, wow, I would love to be able to enjoy you more, but I have him kind of just, he's not in a great spot for me is what it is. So I'm trying to find that happy medium for both of us where I can see him more and enjoy him more, but he's also happy too. So anyways, I just want to give you guys a really good look at him because he's so cool and it's been such an easy plant. This actually is a piece that was so sad. It's a little slower to grow than my other euphorbias, I think, well, because he's predominantly white, but he finally started to give me a shoot. I mean, he was small. He was only this tall when we brought him home, or when we got him. So he finally had started growing a shoot. I believe it was gonna be here. And this is when we had just got our boxer puppy, and he had somehow knocked it off, like knocked the fresh growth off. And I was so sad. I was like, man, this plant's finally giving me some growth. So I ended up taking it and just was like, well, I'll just stick it in the dirt next to it and see if it'll take. And it did. So now we have a little baby next to the big one, and this is officially Sampy's. This is Sampy's little baby. But I love it. I love it. I think they're so cool. So another easy plant that you could literally, as long as it's got access to light in terms of like care, watering and all of that, super low maintenance. Next is my Hoya Wilbur Graves. So this is one that I had wanted for a long time. And someone local to me, she has tons of Hoyas, guys. Like, I think she told me over 700 Hoyas or something like that. But I told her, I was like, you know, I really want Wilbur Graves. I was kind of going through my wish list Hoyas with her, and she was like, yep, I've got one. I'll bring it to the next plant swap. So she did. And she brought me a 2-leaf cutting of this specimen here. So basically these 2 leaves, right? Gorgeous. Oh my goodness. When I first saw this plant, I was like, it is everything that I had thought it would be. So it finally started giving me some growth, and rather quickly, if I'm being honest. I put it into semi-hydro, and I mean, the leaves this plant puts out, amazing. Since then, I have chopped, what it did is it grew one long vine. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and chop it. Also, the variegation was becoming less and less. So I was like, I'm just gonna propagate this thing. And then I envisioned just like a big, beautiful pot of Wilbur Graves. So I left this, you know, two leaves. Actually, I think it had 4 leaves. These 2 leaves are new. These are the new leaves since propagating it, and it has another little shoot coming from there. But I'm planning on sort of leaving this one be, just letting it be like my mother plant and kind of just enjoying it as is. But these are all of the cuttings that I took. And as you can see, the variegation is much less here, but still so beautiful. And I'm hoping, now that I have some nice solid roots in here, I'm hoping to continue to propagate and maybe get this plant to produce more variegation. I'm not sure how it works with the Wilbur Graves, if propagation will induce, you know, variegation, or if it's a light thing or a temperature thing. But overall, I think we're well on our way to a full pot, and I couldn't be happier. I just think it's so cute in this little like oregano terracotta pot. And yeah, just happy. I just cannot believe how easy this plant is to propagate, to repot. It's just, it's so easy, you guys. So easy. My next one is a Hoya that's not been so easy. So the fact that we're here is like mind-blowing to me. When I show you guys this, you're probably going to laugh. That is okay. Okay, this is my Hoya Carnosa. This is the inner variegated. And she's crazy. Like, she is just crazy. So this plant and I we have been on a journey of journeys. I bought it. It didn't do a thing. So I decided, okay, maybe it's just not happy. Like, this is in earlier days, you know, maybe it's just not happy with this substrate. At the time too, I had started experimenting with my semi-hydro, and I was like, honestly, I don't care if this plant makes it at this point. Like, it's just one that I want to experiment with, and whatever happens, happens. And yeah, this is what happened. So here we are. Like, now that it's where it's at, I can't imagine not having her. I am forever amazed by just how this thing grows. So what she does is she puts out these like huge, thick tendrils, and then she starts to like give me her leaves. So we do have a leaf coming in right here. It looks like the other one hasn't really started yet. It's just crazy, you guys, crazy. I mean, look at the roots on this thing. So I have her growing in my semi-hydro, my pond mix, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that a peduncle? She's just in my semi-hydro mix. Her roots are crazy. This is not cute. Like, there's tons of like algae. It doesn't matter. She seems to love it. And I just feed her weekly. I feed her with every water. Her variegation is not great. I'm not like wild about her coloring as much. It's just been like the way that she's grown. She's just in my Blalladin cabinet under Barina pink lights. I do find that Hoyas seem to really like the Barina pink lights. So yeah, that's what's up with her. And I just find myself going to water, and every week I'm looking at her. Like, I'm like, okay, where are we? Have you given me a new leaf? You know, it's like one of those things where she's just doing so much, and I find it to be exciting. So yeah, I know it's not like anything really fancy or special, but to me, super special. Okay, next is one that I had wanted for a really long time and could not get my hands on it. I could not find one of these plants locally forever. And then one day I came across one, and not only was it like a winner, but it was a winner. You know what I mean? Like, when you finally find that plant you've been on the hunt for, and not only is it like a good specimen, but it's like amazing. So all of these like long bits are like new growth. So all of these is just from living here with me, but the big juicy leaves are from before, from purchase. And I did just water her yesterday. It's one I'm a little leery on how often to water, so I've just been kind of taking it easy. This is also it's an airy mix, but it's a rich one, if that makes sense. Like, I do have some tree fern fiber in there and things like that. So I have her in this pot that does have like a little indicator. It's just like one of those Costa pots. I can tell that there's no water in there. She just sucked it all up, but she's not dry. So while some of her leaves are still a little bit shriveled, if you will, I think she just hasn't had enough time to absorb. So I'm not gonna water. I'm gonna resist the urge to water. You guys just have to go through this dialect with me, unfortunately, about whether or not I'm going to water. Anyways, I just think she's so cool. I have been enjoying her so much. I actually got her at a little local nursery. I think I paid like $11.99 for this pretty big pot, and I was happy to pay it. I think she's so cool. I'm so excited to see this trail. I just have this vision of this beautiful big Peperomia Hope that's like trailing down the Vitzjo. maybe get her a cooler pot at some point, just, you know, with a little more flair. But yeah, actually, Jungle Haven, Claire from the Jungle Haven, she's the one that got me onto Peperomia Hope. So I have her to thank, and I love her channel. But yeah, I just think he's so cool. Do you guys have this plant? I feel like everybody has one. This is like the houseplant standard, and I don't ever see them around at any of my like local stores. Is that normal? Next is Peperomia Pink Lady. This is a recent purchase, not too long ago, but I have fallen in love with this Peperomia. I am finding myself rather drawn to Peperomia, and I don't really know what that's about. That's kind of a recent thing. It was really her color that got me. And actually, when I got her, she had much brighter pink. Turns out it's, I think, temperature related with this plant. It's either temperature or light, maybe a combination of both. Yeah, I think it's temperature. So she's kind of putting out, like, I don't know, I guess greener leaves than when I first brought her home. She was definitely pinker. Like, she was, I don't know how well that's showing up, but she was super duper pink, like all over. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is such a beautiful plant. I am still just as obsessed with her. I decided to put her in my little clay, my version of the swing pot. And I just think it's the perfect little compliment. I don't know. I love it. I love it. It brings me joy when I look in the Millsbow and I see this little happy pot with her little Peperomia hair. I'm just like, stop. What a good day, right? Next is my Forgetti. So this came from the Green Escape. I did do the unboxing here on YouTube, so there is a video. Anyways, when I got these are considered starter plants. So it's the Green Escape's little, like, you know, $15, $20 little tiny starter plants. And basically she came in as like a plug, very, very tiny. I'm not even sure. This may be one of her original leaves, maybe. Since then, which I got these plants on 3/28 of this year. So in March, the end of March. And just this time, this plant has grown like crazy. It is absolutely mind-blowing to me how fast she has put out growth. She's expanded in terms of her root system to the point where I did the big pot up thing that I like to do, where I just like size them up. I had an old, gosh, I don't even know what came in here, maybe a pepper plant or something, and she went from her tiny little pot. And when I say tiny little pots, like I'm talking something like this. You know, like a tiny little pot to this. And I would never do that with any other plant outside of Anthurium. They just, in my experience, seem to really, really want that. That room to grow. So yeah, the only thing I'm gonna run into here, this pot should do her for a while, is the fact that all of these roots are exposed. So I am gonna have to figure out a collar situation for her at some point. But in the meantime, this is this is pretty crazy to me. I was so excited too to get that first like fused sinus leaf. That was it? See, this one came out and it still wasn't fused. And then after that, we got this one. And so that was the first time I saw signs of that fusion happening. Then we got this one. And here we are. And then she does have another one coming. So it's like, it's constantly, it's literally, this leaf has not even hardened off yet. Still pretty soft. I would say we have like another 2 days before this is like ready to start hardening. Definitely another 2 days of expanding. And yeah, she's already trying to put out her next leaf. That is just crazy. She hasn't reached caterpillar just yet, but I do plan on breeding her, and I can't wait. I cannot wait until she's ready. All right, guys, next are gonna be my Hoya Bellas. So this is my original Hoya Bella. Doesn't look like much. I have struggled so much with this plant. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Hoya Bella, but does not love me. This has pretty much recharged since moving her to the sill. I was like, you know what, I don't know what it is about this plant. It does not like the lighting it doesn't like anything that I'm doing. So I just decided to hang her in an actual windowsill because I see a lot of people with Hoya, you know, that's where they have them, like in their windowsills. So I'm like, if that doesn't work, then maybe the Bella just isn't for me. So I put her in the window, and I think, I'm not sure if I had her in semi-hydro at one point or what, but moving her to this windowsill has been the best thing that I could have done. She also got attacked by spider mites at one point, which is why you may see like some discoloration on these leaves here. But this is all of her new growth that she's been giving me. And the other day I was on my way to water and I saw that she's giving me a bloom, you guys. Can you see that? I have never had a Hoya bloom. So when I saw that, I was like, no way. Like, I was shocked. Anyway, I'm so excited. I hope it comes to fruition and we get a little beautiful Bella flower. That would be so exciting. In the meantime, I just kind of, I needed more hanging planters in order, or something to hang. I didn't have any. So I just took this pot and I kind of made this situation, we'll call it, out of just some beads I had lying around. And this, I think at one point, was a curtain, like it held big heavy curtains on the rod because it has this hook here. But anyways, it made the perfect like macrame hook, and I don't know how to macrame, but this is the best that I could come up with, so be nice, don't make fun. It serves the purpose and she's doing her thing. We're happy about that. Next is Hoya Bella Variegated. This is the outer variegated, so I don't really know if there's like a fancy term for that. I just call it Hoya Bella Variegated. And I got her not that 518, so not that long ago. And this plant has just been quite the opposite of the regular edition. Like, she is just growing like crazy. I've had absolutely zero issues growing this plant. And I don't know, I love the little pot or the cup that she's in. I found this not so long ago at a Dollar General near me, and I just like literally couldn't leave without it. So yeah, I just kind of have her growing out of it. I am not wild about, like, I don't know, I'm not wild about where she is at this moment. I like these two way over here, and then they're kind of like everywhere. I do see some webbing, but I don't see any spider mite damage, so I think it's an actual spider. Nonetheless, I will spray this down once I'm done, but I think over time I'm gonna love the setup here. Once these shoots get a little longer, I kind of wish she was like going this way, a little more balanced. This is just me being like nitpicky, but nonetheless, these are the thoughts that go through my head. Are you guys like that? Like, oh, I really love her, I just wish, you know. Anyways, love the cup, I love the display. It sits on my Vitstro and I've just really been enjoying it. I did notice a little bit of sun stressing the other day, but I don't see it now. Anyways, I'm just enamored by her, and I'm hoping I don't see any blooms, but maybe one day she'll bloom for me too. And then the next one is another Hoya. So this is the Hoya video today, I guess. It's the month of Hoyas. The reason she is on my list is because she's covered in blooms, and also I just love her. Like, I love it. This is what I mean. This is kind of like what I was talking about with this one. So in terms of the way that the plant looks in the pot and the overall display, I know this looks a little probably unruly and wild to some people, but I love the idea of this like beautiful old, this is a vintage mason. I got it at a vintage store, and I just, you know, semi-hydro. And there's something about the way that the vessel supports the vines in terms of, you know, it enables the plant to vine down. And I think over time, as she starts to fill out, because she likes to give me these long vines before she fills in her leaves. So once this sort of all fills out, I think this is going to be like absolutely beautiful. She is covered in blooms literally everywhere, you guys. Like, I went from no Hoya blooms to like a ton of Hoya blooms. Literally peduncles everywhere. I've been trying to, you know, be really careful as to not knock any of them off, but like, here's a nice size one coming. Can you see it? Right here, like right where my thumb is. So that's just one of many, but they're just kind of like randomly all over her vines. And like I said, I've never had a Hoya bloom, so I was shocked. I was just like shocked to see that. So yeah, that's where we are. She's just been growing in the Blalladin cabinet under the Barina pink lights. And another thing that I'm wondering if perhaps helped with these sudden blooms on my Hoyas is I did switch up the food. I talked about it in my last video. I follow Plant Gay for Life. His name is Jake here on YouTube. And he mentioned the food that he uses for his plants. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go. It's literally something you can find at anywhere. And I was like, well, his plants are beautiful, so let me try it. And all of a sudden my Hoyas started blooming. So I don't know. I mean, it's obviously too soon to tell. Like, there's another one here. And the peduncles seem to come in between like the leaves, which, like a set of leaves, which I also didn't know was a thing. So anyway, I've spent way too much time on her. I think she's so cool. I know it's a little wonky, but I think just sitting on a table, like, that would be beautiful. Really beautiful. Of course, she doesn't sit on a table. She lives in a cabinet, but you get the point. You get the point. Okay, guys, for the last two plants, we had to come outside. And this is my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. And I have to say, I can't stop staring at her. Every time I come out here, I'm just like, oh my goodness, look how beautiful you are. This is one that you get at the big box store, you know, typically. And I mean, that's where I got mine. And it's just always amazing to me when you find such a beautiful specimen from just the big box. But she just goes on and on and on. Another one that I'm not really interested in chopping. I have propagated her on a few occasions, but typically what I am propagating is this. So anytime she just puts out like an all green vine, I will chop it and kind of get rid of it. This whole vine, as you can see, is reverted. So I'm gonna get in here and I'll definitely cut that up, and I'll just make like little Carnosa babies. But this variegation is just incredible. She just lives in the pergola and she loves it. It's very warm out here and humid. And then the last one on my list is my Anthurium regale. She recently just gave me this huge leaf. I am so proud of it, even though we have this silly hole in the center that I think I actually did. I am just like, wow. Anytime she gives me a leaf, I am just like, wow. So this one obviously needs to go. I just kind of left it on while she was giving me this. Sad thing is it was raining and I was like, oh, you know what? It was in the evening and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give her the opportunity to get some of this rainwater. She's going to love it. And I accidentally left her out. So I'd basically just taken her from here and I just set her like on the ground. But the problem is she got full light, full sun for probably 36 hours. And by the time I realized it, I came out. Of course, I pulled her in, but I can already see some burning, and I'm just hoping that the leaf is salvageable. Nonetheless, though, she is super happy, super healthy, and absolutely majestic. I know you guys enjoy it when they make a little cameo, so I thought today on the outro, we would say goodbye together. But Sampy's very breathy, and so I think we'll do it on our own. But thanks for stopping in, Sam. Thanks for saying hi. Hi, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. I appreciate you. Tell me what your favorite plant is of the month. I would love to know down below. If you made it all the way to the end, send me a puppy dog emoji. And I guess I'll just see you guys in the next one. I like to keep these things short and sweet, you know? See you next time, guys. Bye.